Taxi to the Dark Side is a 2007 documentary film directed by American filmmaker Alex Gibney, and produced by him, Orner and Susannah Shipman. It won the 2007 Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature. It focuses on the December 2002 killing of an Afghan taxi driver named Dilawar, who was beaten to death by American soldiers while being held in extrajudicial detention and interrogated at the Parwan Detention Facility at Bagram Air Base. It was part of the Why Democracy series, which consisted of 10 documentary films from around the world questioning and examining contemporary democracy. As part of this series, the documentary was broadcast in over 30 countries from October 8 to 18, 2007. The BBC showed the film in its Storyville series. Overview. Taxi to the Dark Side examines the USA's policy on torture and interrogation in general, specifically the CIA's use of torture and the research into sensory deprivation. The film includes discussions against the use of torture by political and military opponents, as well as the defense of such methods. Attempts by Congress to uphold the standards of the Geneva Convention forbidding torture, and popularization of the use of torture techniques in TV series such as 24. Plot. The documentary background to the death of Dilawar, an Afghan peanut farmer, who gave up farming to become a taxi driver, and who died after several days of beating at Bagram Detention Center. Dilawar left his home of Yaqubi in eastern Afghanistan in the autumn of 2002, investing his family money in a new taxi to make money in a larger city. On the 1st of December 2002, he and 3 passengers were handed over to U.S. military officials by a local Afghan warlord, accused of organizing an attack on Camp Salerno. The warlord was later found guilty of the attack himself, but had been ingratiating himself for $1,000 per person by handing over alleged terrorists. Dilawar was held at the prison at Bagram Air Base, and given the prisoner number BT 421, chained from the ceiling. He received multiple attacks on his thighs, a standard technique viewed as permissible and non-life-threatening. It is likely that the severe attack caused a blood clot which then killed him. His official death certificate, created by the U.S. military to pass to his family with his body, was marked homicide. Medical conclusion stated that Dilawar's legs were pulpified and, had he lived, would have required amputation. The film explores the background of increasingly sanctioned torture since 9/11 in contravention of the Geneva Convention and looks at the exposures of Abu Ghraib. Interviews include Tim Golden of The New York Times, who brought the case into the international spotlight, and Moazzam Beg, a British citizen imprisoned at the same time, and witness to the events. Military interviewees include Damien Corsetti, the main interrogator, and Sergeant Anthony Morden. CPT Christopher Byring explains how he was the only person charged with dereliction of duty. The documentary claims that of the over 83,000 people incarcerated by U.S. forces in Afghanistan up to 2007, 93% were captured by local militiamen and exchanged for U.S. bounty payments. Also that 105 detainees had died in captivity and that 37 of these deaths had been officially classified as homicides up to 2007. The film also looks at Guantanamo Bay and how the same techniques were implemented there. Release. The film premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City on April 28, 2007. Reception and awards. Taxi to the Dark Side appeared on some critics' top 10 lists of the best films of 2008. Premiere Magazine named it the 5th best film of 2008. And Bill White of the Seattle Post-Intelligencer named it the 7th best film of 2008. The film also scored 100% for critic approval. out of 91 reviews. On Rotten Tomatoes, it was named by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences as one of 15 films on its documentary feature Oscar shortlist in November 2007, and won the Oscar on February 24, 2008. In his acceptance speech for the Best Documentary Feature Academy Award, Gibney said, "This is dedicated to two people who are no longer with us. Dilawar, the young Afghan taxi driver, and my father, a Navy interrogator who urged me to make this film because of his fury about what was being done to the rule of law. Let's hope we can turn this country around. Move away from the dark side and back to the light." It also won a Peabody Award in 2007 for its sober, meticulous argument that what happened to her hapless Afghani was not an aberration but, rather, the inevitable result of a consciously approved, widespread policy. Quote, "Controversies and legal disputes." In June 2007, the Discovery Channel bought the rights to broadcast Taxi to the Dark Side. However, in February 2008, it made public its intention never to broadcast the documentary due to its controversial nature. HBO then bought rights to the film and announced that it would be broadcast in September 2008, after which the Discovery Channel announced it would broadcast Taxi to the Dark Side in 2009. In June 2008, Gibney's company filed for arbitration, arguing that Think Film failed to properly distribute and promote the film following its release and Oscar win. See also, Standard Operating Procedure. 2008 film, Torturing Democracy. 2008 film, Jan Bass. Muhammad al-Qahtani, Guantanamo detainee discussed in the film. Ibn al-Sheikh al-Labi. Abu Ghraib, torture and prisoner abuse. Extraordinary rendition by the United States. Christopher Byring. Canadian-Afghan detainee abuse scandal. Bagram, torture and prisoner abuse. List of films with a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. A film review aggregator website. Washington Post, Down a Dark Road by Richard Levy. BBC News, torture film wins Tribeca Award. Variety review by J. Weisberg. Interview with Taxi to the Dark Side director Alex Gibney at Filmmaker magazine. Pull quote review. Taxi to the Dark Side at the Internet Movie Database.